And everybody, it's another edition of Your Money Radio. Let me go with Hunter Mazingo first. Danny Stewart, Don Vanderboard, I'm Tim Razor. Live with you whenever you are listening to the sounds of our voices. And so a lot to cover today. Danny, there are people going apoplectic on Twitter. I want to discuss that and how it's affecting their mindset into investing. And it's probably affecting a good number of stock nerds. I know this because you get the emails and the phone calls. Don's got a new haircut. We'll talk about that. I want to make sure he's in counseling for what a member of KISS did to him. I'd like to discuss that with him a little bit more, see if he's moved his allegiance to Twisted Sister, which I believe is not taking a political stance in any. Rush, the drummer died, so he is safe. Is that right? Is that
correct?
Right?
Correct.
Yeah, so he is.
Rest in peace, Neil Peart.
Neil Peart is not Peart, man. That's a great shampoo, isn't it? Like, do they still put shampoo into conditioner and mix it in one?
They were the first. I think they were the first 2-in-1. They were ahead of their time.
Yeah, like that is. Do they still sell Peart?
I don't know.
Like, that seems like in today's go-go age, like you would want to condition and shampoo together, knock that thing right. What do you use, Danny? I got you down as a bar soap in the hair kind of fellow. What do you use?
Wow.
Like just not stuff with the pumice in it that you clean your hands with.
I make my own lye soap, Tim.
Yeah, I got you as a lava guy. Like you got this
I use, to be honest, I'm in touch with my feminine side. I actually use Dove, but that's just because that's what my wife buys. She buys it for herself. No, for soap. For shampoo, I use just a discount brand, but with no phosphates. You don't want the phosphates in your shampoo.
The phosphates matter? What do phosphates do to your hair?
Bad for your hair.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna just leave it at that, or like what do they?
I don't know. I don't care. It's what my wife told me. Just don't buy shampoo with phosphates.
I hear smoking kills too, so it's cool.
Yeah, she.
I don't know why, but I
used
just
to come home with shampoo, and she go, "That has phosphates, honey. You got to take it back." So after going back, taking literally a $4, $5, $6, $8 bottle of shampoo back to the store 4 times,
I know. I think we're learning a lot. You know what? We're going to pause the whole investing show and let's go into Danny's consumerism. What is returnable in the Stewart household? The shampoo?
Yep.
Did you use it first or was it unused?
No. She immediately I walked in the door. She said, "Turn around and go back." So, yes, boss.
So great.
She returned a loaf. Hey, you asked what returned? She returned a loaf of bread about 2 weeks ago. She did that Walmart delivery. They loaded up in your car. She got home and they put a loaf of bread in with a bunch of hard items. It was smashed like a tortilla.
I watched a woman at Costco return a turkey she left in the back seat of her car for a week.
Only Costco would do that. Yeah, only Costco would do that.
Fantastic place. All right, so I wanted to. By the way, can we just say thank you, Neil Peart? What a great last name. So anyway, Hunter, I wanted to talk to you. I think sports are off. Like, you know, when you eat something and your stomach feels off and you just like, I can't eat anymore. It's going to be Thanksgiving week this coming week, which made me think about not eating too much. But sports are off. Like, you know, like when you eat something queasy and you're like, a little bit off here today. Like, I feel like sports are off, and I feel like you'd be the one to tell me if sports are off or not. Not just because the Eagles, I mean, the Eagles are finding ways to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory every week. The Jags suck. There's a lot that, I mean, Indiana and Ohio State, I believe, are playing for supremacy in the Big Ten. And can we just say that I've turned on the Big Ten? I don't think I care for I mean, they flip, they flop, they flip, they flop. They're the Al Gore sports. And so, what do you think about sports, Hunter? I think they're off. Like, I don't even enjoy watching them, and I'm not that's not me being facetious. Like, I will watch some of the Eagles game with Nora because she talks to me during that, and I think she's getting to be a Philly fan where she just yells at the TV. But I don't think sports are on. What do you think?
I mean, I'm probably biased because I have a burning love for football and for basketball. Don't care for baseball, but I would say more than anything, I think NFL is still pretty normal for the most part, but college football is so dependent on the environment and the fans, and a lot of college stadiums have no fans.
Is that what it
And I
is? There's no
think,
fans, and that's why it feels dead. Like it feels listless. That's a better word.
yeah,
Listless.
and it's quiet, and the crowd, and they simulate the crowd noise. But I would say the NFL to me seems about the same. Not like it is normally, but college football is really different.
Yeah.
But you might be biased as well because you're having to suffer through the Eagle season. Personally,
Yeah,
I'm an Alabama fan, and so it's been a good year. And so, and I'm a Jags fan, but I'm really just an NFL fan. I just like watching the highest level of football. So I'm indifferent in a lot of games.
I flipped through the channels the other night. One, I didn't even realize it was Monday night when they were playing football, and I couldn't name an announcer. They had the announcers on the screen. I didn't even know who's doing it. That used to be the biggest thing in the world. You're a little young, but like Monday night with the announcers, it used to be, well, Don Meredith is even before my time a little bit, but there were big names in Howard Cosell and Frank Gifford and Al Michaels, and now it's just, I honestly
Well, now
don't know who they
they've
are.
got Lewis Riddick, and I like him. But they're having to recover from having Booger McFarland on there last year, who was god awful.
I don't think Jason
So
Witten was very good either, and I knew who he
I
was
didn't
because
either.
people
That's
were
why he went back to
making
football.
fun. People made fun of him so bad on Twitter. I had to find out how bad he was. So look, stock nerds, market lovers, there's a lot going on here in the markets, and I'm looking through Twitter, and I love Twitter. Like speaking of Twitter, like you can follow all of us. Where are we at here? You can follow all of us, like right here. I'm at TJ Razor. And when I say follow us, I want you to interact with us. Like if you follow me, what I'm going to do is follow you back. And then look, I got a message in there. Like we can be texting buddies. And it's the same thing with Danny. It's one Danny Stewart is his, and he'll retweet pictures of Don's stock picking dog Snickers, who's also Don's donut eating dog and also Don's bread eating dog. And so it seems like Snickers has a carb problem, really, to be honest with you. But that's something Don can discuss with his Neil Stanley. No, who? Paul Stanley.
Neil Stanley.
You can take all the members of KISS, homogenize them into one ball, and they're all the same to me. I mean, they're both
That's
the same.
absolutely. There's never been a less true statement uttered than what you just said.
Oh, I'm quite sure I can utter a whole bunch of other things, and you'd be like, "Oh, that is a little bit more
No,
untrue." But I will not try.
not if I'm judging.
Don, who won the election?
It's undetermined.
Fair enough. I thought I'd get you with that one. So, do I have it on? I do have it on you. And Don's got this book. That retweet you did of John's charts right there. That is a really good book. Reminiscence of Stock Operator. And John Boyk here, who
He's a
wrote
great follow.
Monster Stocks. Yeah, I talked to John once in my life. There it is. I didn't realize his handle was Monster Stocks 1, which makes me wonder, did somebody take Monster Stocks before him? He wrote about a lot of the O'Neill stocks in the book that he's co-authored. He's written a couple of books. Anyway, now we can follow Balls on Twitter, but look, people are going apoplectic about they think there's a lot of people that seem to have the mindset that there's going to be a constitutional crisis with the potential for two presidents. And I'm kind of paraphrasing and I'm kind of being a little funny about it, but I'm kind of not. And so there are some people just flying way off the handle in the media, financial media, about this. And I think it garners a few minutes of your time to talk about known and unknown. And so I think we know that there is definitely a challenge to the election and that there is a potential president-elect. A fair statement. And what I want to point out to you is the chart. We'll just use the NASDAQ here. It's a chart that I have up. And this is a bullish chart. You're right at the 5, stacked above the 8, stacked above 21, 34, and 50. That, my friends, is a bullish chart. And so if the market was super duper concerned about this, I would contend that you would be maybe down at the 21 at the very least, if not coming down here. But you would couple that with the volatility futures being inverted. And you can see on this day that this is a brand new December contract. December contract is trading below the January contract. And look at this, and this is really interesting. And it's only by 20, 25 cents. The January contract is trading below the February contract. And that's a big difference because before that wasn't the case, where in going from October to November, the November contract was always trading above the December contract, even when there was an October contract. And that might be really confusing. But what I'm trying to tell you is there was more risk back in October, November predicted by the markets than at this moment, this Friday that I'm talking to you at 10:20 Central, that there's not the level of perceived risk by the markets. And it's because, in my estimation, that it's known. So what would be an unknown to the markets? How about last night's Steven Mnuchin announcement that he's not going to fund a few programs? So let's take a look at that. Well, Tim, how would you measure that? Well, let's just look at the S&P. So let's look at the ES, and we'll go to a 5-minute chart. And so let's see here. Here, we'll take it back to yesterday afternoon at 1700. So here's 1500, okay? And the market's not too shabby, right? But Mnuchin, right after the close, makes that announcement they're not going to fund certain programs, and look what the market does. And then it starts to recover, right? But why would the market take almost a 1% drop on Mnuchin news? And why would the market not be overtly concerned about this potential on Twitter? I'm not speaking for myself or anybody else here. I am speaking for myself. I'm not concerned because I'm looking at the charts. But oh, Danny, my charts are going to lock up here. So we might be out a few charts here while I talk. Hopefully it clears up. So why would the markets discount the market by 1% on the S&Ps on Mnuchin news and not on this perceived issue with the presidential challenge? And it has to do with knowns and unknowns. That's the basis of this. That Mnuchin's news was not known. It was not known that he was going to do that. And so the market just sells it off. You're not going to fund these programs that have been backstopping these companies. And it turns out it's not as big of a deal as it seemed right after the close yesterday on Thursday, where there's plenty of money and apparently they're looking to reallocate those funds to small and medium-sized businesses, because all the other large corporations, think Boeing, think the airlines, they have access to the capital markets, which is a really big deal. So maybe some of those programs, the backstop's not needed, and they can easily turn those things back on. So I think there's a number of people.
And they were already scheduled to expire at the end of the year, and he's just not extending them.
Great point.
So it's not that he's pulling money away that people were expecting, and he came out and clarified that this morning, and it does seem to have assuaged any fear. The futures recovered overnight.
Yeah,
I also read that it doesn't mean that they're gone forever. There is some potential that they could be revived if need be. So whatever that's worth.
Yeah. But hang
on. To your point, Tim. So the election and the challenges and all that stuff has less kind of bearing than, right now the markets are more concerned about interest rates, the effect on interest rates, what the Fed's going to do in stimulus. That's really what that signals to me. That's what that tells me. And that's why his statement was a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction. And then everybody's like, Hunter said, everybody said, wait a minute, that's not really an issue. They can bring that back in 2 minutes.
But what happens is, and this is what the news is, I ask people, I beg you to turn it off all the time, and I understand you don't want to, but if you think about the news, it's reality entertainment. Every night, somebody comes on a TV to fire you up. It's not straight reporting anymore. After a certain time frame in the day, it becomes opinion journalism, and no matter what channel you watch, it's meant to fire you up and provide you with entertainment. You might not think it's entertainment because you perceive it as you're getting informed. It's entertainment, and but that then you bring that entertainment and you bring it to the markets, that mindset, and what you're seeing on these charts is different from what a lot of people are talking about on Twitter, financial people. And so, but if you're following their lead, that this could all fall apart. It's a market and anything can happen. That's why you always size appropriately. You have your sell discipline and all the other stuff that we talk about constantly, week in and week out, and all the videos 5 nights a week. But right now, these are bullish charts, and when the comment we always get is, and And when this typically is when people will miss out on moves. They'll say something to the effect of, "I'm going to sit this out, and I'll join them. I'll get back into the market come January, at the end of January." Matter of fact, Danny, did someone say that recently?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that? You can
No,
make fun.
no. A couple people have said that. They're worried.
Okay.
They want to wait till things clear up. The problem is you may be doing that, but you may be doing that at 15% higher. You know, there's an old adage on Wall Street. Wall Street climbs the wall of worry.
What is wait? I'm so glad you said those words, Danny, because that's what I want to attack here. And then I've got one other thing, and then we'll get to the normal parlance of the show. More Neil.
But to your first point, you're basically saying lose the news, get rid of the news, because all it's meant to do is make you make irrational decisions.
If you're a professional like me, I mean, handsome. I don't know handsome so much a prerequisite.
Humble.
What's that?
He said humble.
Yeah, humble, handsome, well-spoken, dresses great. Then you can watch the news if you cannot.
Addicted to small pieces of cardboard with pictures on them.
Oh my God, yeah. Like speaking of which, look, I am taking a new tact this week. It's Randall Cunningham.
Thanks, Don.
It's Randall Cunningham's rookie card.
Right, Dan, as if it wasn't coming at some point.
I wasn't going to, but I brought back Randall Cunningham and Harold Carmichael. We could probably do better with these two.
6'8" Harold Carmichael.
Carmichael was a beast.
Yep. Wasted talent on the Eagles. Oh my gosh. He should have been playing for the Cowboys or some other great team during his heyday, not the Eagles.
He played with Jaws, didn't he?
Yeah.
They went to the Super Bowl.
1 year. I mean, it was like the Eagles had some great years at the end of the 70s. They just didn't go that far. Then they went to the Super Bowl. But think about the toll your body took playing at Veterans Stadium. Like Veterans Stadium is
on concrete with a carpet over it.
Yeah,
yes.
Like Veterans Stadium is the equivalent of stepping in dog dirt. Like you're walking down your neighborhood and there's dog poop, and that's what you stepped in. Oh, that's Veterans Stadium. Like that's essentially what those relics of the 70s were. Anyway, if you're able to separate the news from the markets, you're A-okay, but so many people aren't. And Danny said, wait till things clear up. That's the common refrain when people call us for, they just want to talk. Look, we'll talk to all stockers, whether you want to become a client of the firm or not. You're going to talk to one of us, and we're going to be answering any of your questions because that's what we do. We empower individual investors. But so many people will say to Danny in particular, I'm waiting for things to clear up. And by the time they look clear to you through your lens, you've already missed the move and you end up chasing. And what the vicious cycle is you end up buying high and then you chase because you missed the move from the low risk entry point of the mean. And then what happens is you sell as it retraces back because, my fears, I knew it, I shouldn't have got back in. What you get is that confirmation bias kicking in, and then the market goes up without you again, and then the cycle begins again. And then what it all equates to at the end of the day, which is pretty much overused these days, but it really is, then when you get the fear of missing out, you chase, then you get your confirmation, your old CB, your confirmation bias kicks in. And then it's just a vicious cycle. And then you start saying things like, every time I buy a stock, it goes down. Every time I sell a stock, it goes up. And that level of psychological negativity, even though you think you're joking to yourself, is really a reflection in the mirror of your psyche at that moment in time. And it's going to screw your dope up. And so I beg you in this environment to use the tools that are afforded to you by the markets to cut through all of the Twitter noise, to cut through all of the Facebook things that you read, to cut through whether you think it's right and just, or if you think it's unfair and nonsensical and criminal. Just look at this chart of the S&Ps. That is a market that's under control right now. It might be just violently trading between a 786 and a 1272 extension. That is a true statement. Violent chop is not breaking down. And that's what I really want to be able to bring to you, because that's what you're going to be able to use. Because as people settle in for whatever you're going to be doing this Thanksgiving, undoubtedly, if you're around other people, and I hope you're around other people to talk. I don't particularly care to talk politics. I don't particularly care to talk markets when I'm not in this environment, because I find myself with markets, people want to convince me of their positions or their thoughts on the market, and I really don't care. I don't care about your thoughts on the market. I don't want to hear what you think is going to happen, because I don't have that thought. I don't know what's going to happen. I know that right now, this NASDAQ chart, I'm going to mute while I cough. Where's the mute button on this thing? I found it. So when I'm looking at this chart of the NASDAQ, I see a chart trading violently between the 618 and the 786, testing the 21 and holding. And right now, that's good enough for government work. Like, that's a bullish looking chart. And there's a rotation that's that started to take shape on Wednesday. And look, and we talked about it in the video, stock nerds. So just go to Revere Asset if you want to see it. It's right here. You can't stay too long in, and this is where I'm going to bring Don in here in a second. You can't stay too long in that. I'm just going to call it the reopening Boeing trade. And so look at what Boeing did. This isn't a bad looking chart. I don't want you to misunderstand me, but Boeing spiked on this day. This is this Wednesday. Comes up to 223. Okay, is that right? Yeah, Wednesday, 223. And God, when did I do that video, Don? Hold on. Wednesday or Tuesday? When did I sell Boeing?
It was Tuesday. It was Tuesday night video.
Oh, thank you. So the Tuesday night video. Thank you. I got confused on my days there. So Wednesday, Boeing spiked. So we sell Boeing after hours around 211, I believe. And it really was just this. It was the third ATR. And it was thinking that if there's any stock that's going to try to revert back, it's going to be Boeing. And so you look, and so I felt dumb on Wednesday when it goes up to 223, but then it closed at the lows of the day. And Don, what's the value ETF? VL, I got it written down.
IVE.
IVE, thank you.
That's
so
the S&P, and the one that's a little more active is VLUE.
Let's do that one, VLUE. So if I get this on like a 5-minute chart, this is, here is Thursday, Wednesday. There it is, there's Tuesday. Gaps down, it closed poorly. Like, these things closed poorly this week. They were not acting. And by the way, Boeing's still a good looking chart on the daily. Don't misunderstand me. But what is starting?
We still own that in the blue chip growth and income portfolio.
Nothing wrong with the chart. I wanted to harvest profits, but it's because you could see gurgling up from their sell-offs, the tech stocks, the leaders. And Don did a video last night. Let me just get the actual title here. Leading stocks return to the fore. So I want to pause there. Don, define for the stock nerds, what qualifies as a leading stock?
It comes down to stocks that are outperforming the S&P 500 in sectors that are outperforming the S&P 500 in a market that's in an uptrend.
So when you say come back to the fore, what sectors and stocks came back to the fore?
The biggest one yesterday was cloud type stocks.
Yep.
Sold off very hard last Monday and Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And also the work from home and live at home stocks, which sold off very hard last Monday and Tuesday. And a lot of them have recouped some or most of their gains.
Yeah, like here's Sky. Just give me a few names.
If not all, yeah. Twilio.
Yeah, oh yeah, we just bought, we'll talk about that here in a second. Twilio.
Roku is another one.
Roku,
there you go. Yep.
They were up, I think, 10% yesterday.
Yeah, that HBO Max deal pushed that over the edge. What else you got, Don? Give me a few more.
Net, NET.
Yep. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Go ahead. Give me another one. Oh, APPS.
APPS, yeah. U.
Snow's going to report. We'll see if that picks up some steam. So what Don says.
Snap and Pins.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So when Don says leading stocks, these were the leaders of the market. And what happened is they took a break on what, Don? On the COVID vaccine news. But we've seen this pattern. It's not always going to come back. where you get this rotation into the reopening trade, and then it rotates out and it gurgles back. Like they take back some of those openings. Give me some reopening stocks, Don. That surge, and then give me some of those.
Mostly cyclical type stocks like reopening stocks. Jets, Jets.
Yeah,
That's
let's
an
look
an
at
ETF for the airlines. Boeing was a reopening stock.
Yeah, and these daily charts all kind of look this looks like Boeing above the 200, shoots above 200 on the gap, and now it's just trading above the 5. Now, like, Tim, that's not a bad looking chart on the daily. No, it's not. But if you just take a look, like say an hourly chart, 22 down here on Thursday afternoon. Now it opens back up. Give me another one, Don.
Boeing.
Oh, Boeing. Yeah, we talked about Boeing.
Almost any of the airlines look like that.
Well, you can look at Deere 265. That's not trading too far off the highs. Let's look at
hotel stocks.
Thank you.
MAR, HLT. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get these on dailies.
Also, the cruise lines are pretty similar to a lot of these.
What's Norwegian? What is Norwegian?
NCLH.
NCLH. There we go.
Spiked up to 23, trading around 20 now.
Yeah, like that's a big percentage difference. You're like, well, Tim, that's not such a bad look. They all look like this. All those reopening stocks seem to have that same pattern. Whereas you look at CVNA on a stack. Don, give me a favorite stock of yours real quick.
Square.
There you go. Well, Square's having a monster week. There you go. Yeah, like, and it's like the leaders, the stocks that were leading before, they're not gone. They were just taking a break, catching their breath, and they're. I don't know if that reopening trade goes away in the face of all this COVID. But the
interesting thing about the reopen, bring Jets back up again.
Sure.
The interesting thing about the reopening trade was over the week. So before 2 weeks ago on Monday, you had the Pfizer news that caused the gap up. Then you had the Moderna news this Monday, and they gapped up. But this time they didn't sell off. Look at how they sold off after the first set of news.
Yeah.
But they're holding their gains this week. That tells me, well, the COVID stats have been terrible all week. We're still at high cases across the U.S. They're not as nowhere near as deadly as it was, but a lot of states are totally locking down.
I think
so you would think that they would maybe give that back, but they have held it this time.
Yeah, and I wonder. We'll find out what's going to happen. I mean, people traveling this week, are they going to climb on the airplanes? We'll find out all the travel numbers as they happen, and you'll see that reflected in price. And if the market's a forward-looking vehicle, and the Jets of the world, and the AALs, and the DALs, and the LUVs aren't giving it up, then maybe we live in a world where both sets of these stocks can go up. I don't know. I'm not even gonna tell you what I think. I'm just gonna say I don't know. It's why I sold my Boeing. Like, look, Boeing for me represented about 16 or 17% in 8 trading days. I wanted to take that and just kind of lock it in. And because if I was going to get rotated out, I didn't want to give up that gain. But when I look at XLI, I still have this. This is Boeing is a large part of the industrial, the XLI, and it's a large part of the defense ETF, which the ticker symbol literally just ITA, Don, is that it? ITA?
Defense is ITA, yeah, or XAR.
Okay, both of those. And so Boeing makes up a considerable portion of those, as well as DIA. I decided to keep my XLI and sell my single stock risk, quote unquote, and lock in the big percentage gain. You make that much money in 8 days, just take it. Normally, there's an 8-week hold rule. If you make 20% less than 2 weeks, Don?
2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. And so, but I was not looking for that.
I don't follow that rule in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not going to give up a 30% gain because I'm supposed to hold something for 8 weeks. There's a lot that can happen in 8 weeks.
And that reminds me of that song, "Take the Money and Run." Who sings that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Steve Miller
Steve
Band.
Michaels.
It is.
Not Steve Michaels.
Steve Miller Band.
Okay, Don, I got something for you. So
Steve
Oh, my-
Michaels, the defensive tackle for the 85 Bears. Steve
I was actually
McMichaels,
thinking,
Mongo.
in all honesty, I was thinking of Brett Michaels, the pro wrestler, and my brain just went.
Steve Michaels joined WWE. Steve McMichaels joined WWE.
Really?
Yes,
I
after
thought
his
you were
career.
thinking of the guy from
Hold on.
Wham, Tim.
Don, I'm going to bring something up for you. I was looking at this. I was looking at this the other night. Hold on. Let me see if it'll come up. So you can pay celebrities to absolutely do any kind of voiceover you want. Like here's the Undertaker, right? But who's our guy, Don? What's your favorite wrestler?
The Nature Boy. Ric Flair.
I think he's on here. There he is. $500, Don, and Ric Flair will say anything. Yo, you guys won't be able to hear it.
Woo!
But there's a lot going on here. Like, I want a picture of me on my wall. Danny has that exact photo, except it's Danny on The Office. Like, you guys can't see it. If Danny just spun the camera around, you would see a picture just like that of Danny. But if you go to Cameo and type in anybody, like just, there's a really good chance that they are on here. And for a certain amount of money, not unlike a lady of the night, they will say,
For all the fun stuff we've done with wrestling and Ric Flair and Don's even got that doll, it might be worth it just to have him do voiceover for
here's
us.
what I'm suggesting, Danny. We don't spend any money on marketing. That's not a joke, stock nerds. We don't. I think we develop a small marketing budget and we change the entire intro of the show to an amalgamation of certain celebrities introducing the show. Like we could get give me your favorite actor or singer, Danny. Who do you like?
Well, he'd be priced out. That'd be Rolling Stones.
I don't think Mick Jagger. Oh, look, Yvonne Lendl, Hall of Fame tennis player Yvonne Lendl.
I play better with Ben Gay.
Oh my gosh, Danny. Oh my gosh, you could chat with Yvonne for $2.99. Oh, I can see you now texting with Yvonne Lendl.
Sawdust.
Now, Johnny Mac. Pull up Johnny Mac.
I don't know if he's on here. He's still pretty famous. John, John. Oh, hold on. John. Oh. Is it MAC
John
or
McAfee.
MCE, Tim.
Oh, it's MCE?
And yes.
Wait, John McAfee is on here.
Hey, look, here's a little
John
nugget for you guys. Go
Yeah.
watch the documentary on Netflix about John McAfee. It is insane. The dude is absolutely crazy.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
No,
That guy's
that is horrible advice. Do not watch. Do not go and do that. That is, Hunter will get his, you guys will email Hunter. I mean, if Mark Buffalo was pissed about Hunter's pick against the Bills, turned out to be right, last week, let me tell you something. Mark and Buffalo will be like floored by some of the things, John. That guy's catching viruses, not defending them. Let me just leave it at that.
I'm sure he has plenty of viruses.
Yes, give me another person, John. I mean, John, Danny. Give me. I got all these. John O'Hurley.
Pull up McEnroe. I want to see McEnroe.
He's not on there.
He's not on there.
What about Ozzy Osbourne? He'd be great for intro in the show. You wouldn't understand a word he would say.
These are all the Aussies.
I'm not surprised he's not on there. There's
Ozzy
a pug
Guillen.
dog on there.
Ozzy Guillen would be an awesome intro. He was something when he was managing the White Sox.
Oh, he told you. Oh, he hates. He just said some player last season he hates, and he was brutal about it on TV.
Yes, he was. Yes,
Yeah,
he was.
Don, Danny, give me another person. How about Boris Becker? Are there any Borises on here?
Boom Boom. Boris Boom Boom Becker.
Boris
There he is
Becker.
right there.
Oh, notify me when available. Oh, it's so great. Okay, people are going to get pissed at me. Here's the thing, Danny. We could have anybody intro the show, but we could then we could have our producer then stitch it together, like just give each of them little snippets, and then say like just like a whole celebrity endorsement of Your Money Radio ended with the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Oh, I thought we did it with me.
What's
No,
that?
Dan. No, it would not be you. The last word you would hear before.
Or Don doing his thing. I don't care what the markets don't care what you think or I think, and more importantly, what Don thinks.
Don could
less
do
what
that as a
Danny
Howard
thinks.
Cosell.
Yes, Costello is Howard Cosell.
Billy Martin, the beleaguered little pepper pocket manager of the New York Yankees.
We should sell that. You could go on. There are impersonators on there that do cameos as impersonators. You could absolutely.
We should do our own impersonations. Try it. Make our own montage.
Who are you going to add to the equation, Dan? Let's hear one of your.
I'll think of somebody.
No, you don't know, do you, Dan?
The guys you always make fun of me.
It's about time we started calling Danny out on his bullshit.
Elmer Fudd.
You doing Elmer Fudd? Do it now.
I gotta go watch. I gotta practice.
Right here. We got all the time in the world.
Who are you gonna do, Tim?
I'm not gonna do anybody. I don't do voices. I have voices in my head. That's it.
We know that. We're very acutely aware of that.
Very true.
Yeah. Like, I mean, give me a break. Don said Neil Pearton. Right away, I went Pert Plus. By the way, I'm not going to lie to you. I thought of Pert Plus, and you know what the next thought in my brain was, Don? Perel. Is anybody still using Perel? The
Perel concentrate. Yeah.
Thank you. It came in a tube.
It came in a tube. It absolutely did. Ahead of its time.
It was ahead of its time, yeah, because of all the recycling and nonsense. Do they sell
concentrate? You only had to use a little bit, so that's why it came in a tube. You just squeeze a little bit into your palm.
You know, I started using the shaving cream called Cremo. It's based on
Cremo is the best, the absolute best.
Yep.
Also in a tube.
Yep. Also in a tube. Yep. Cremo is the best. Hunter, do you shave?
Not today, but I do.
I'm just laughing with you, man.
Hunter's got a strong goatee game if he wanted one.
Strong mustache game too. I might show off my mustache.
That's a 15-minute shadow on his chin right there.
Who's the guy that the radio program in the jungle? Jim
Rome.
Are you going for a little Jim Rome there?
I'm not a big Jim Rome fan. So no. But my goatee grows so much faster than the rest of it, so it's just inevitable that I become Jim Rome.
I think for Christmas, Hunter, this month, for the month of December, can you grow a Magnum PI mustache, lose the bottom part, and just go pure Magnum?
I could grow a mustache in a week or two, but Nicolette would probably assault me.
Oh, who's Nicolette?
We'll have to run that by me, mommy, too.
Let's introduce a couple new characters here for the show. Well, Nicolette is new. Who is Nicola Motors? Are you dating that?
I'm not in bed with Nicola Motors. Nicolette is my girlfriend.
And she goes by Nicoletta.
Nicolette with an E at the end.
Oh, Nicolette. Like Nickelodeon, except you don't have the Odeon.
Correct, in a way.
Okay.
But I'll shave and I'll have the mustache and I'll say, "Hey, Nicolette, is this okay?" And every time it's pure disgust on her face. So
at least you're starting the relationship out right. You know who's boss.
Oh yeah, I do.
So I have to ask her.
Let's find out some more about Nicolette. Have you been dating her for long? This is the part of the show, Hunter, where people This is the part where people just they scream at Danny because I'm not giving them every stock that's going up next week. Buy freaking Carvana if you're that hard up, people. CVNA. Go ahead, Hunter. Now you can continue.
I've been dating Nicolette since I was a sophomore in college. We met in rehab, not drug rehab, but physical rehab. I absolutely obliterated my knee, tore my ACL, MCL, meniscus, all that fun stuff playing intramural football, and she was a cheerleader.
I met her in rehab. That's the only
That's why I always lead with that because you get some good reactions.
Fake news would edit that clip and just cut it off after rehab. This is the guy you want running your money. I met her in rehab. Stop it right there.
Hey. But anyway, she had
a headhunting firm and said, "You did do a background check, right?"
So, Danny, once again, with the impressions that you can't do, Don was your headhunting firm.
No.
I contacted a headhunting firm.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
He had a friend. He had a friend that works in the business.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Learn something more about Nicoletta. So, what did she major in?
Oh, she's in physician assistant school now. That's why I'm in Jacksonville. She majors in biomedical sciences. So she's about 9 months out from completing PA school, and then she'll start working probably around September, October of next year once she passes the PANTS exam.
So she's a lot smarter.
Hold on, the PANTS exam.
Oh yeah, she was at Troy on a full ride. She's
tell me
smart.
that your better half is going to take an exam called the PANTS. That's how my wife got pregnant. We
skirts and shorts only until you pass the PANTS exam.
Look, it's PANCE, I think. It's physician assistants certified something exam. I don't know what it is. But
this is the best
that would be the
show
pants off
ever.
exam.
Pants off, yeah.
All right, honey, it's time for your exam.
Here's
Get those slacks off, baby.
Every time Danny tries to study for the PANTS exam, AK says, "Take the shampoo back." So, well, listen.
No phosphates.
No, Danny, no phosphates. Listen, here's the thing, Stockner.
Hey, look at this. You can tell, man. Look at that hair.
It is. It's nice, fluffy. I can see it. You could be on a hair commercial.
If you hate the interludes, this is exactly what you do. Right here is your complaint line, America's Fiduciary. Dan at revereasset.com, or you can just pick up the phone and scream into it, 855-732-5932. All the compliments go to Hunter. Right there, Hunter at revereasset.com. You can ask him about Nicolette, ask about Nikola. So, you know what? I haven't checked into Nikola Motors in a while.
They had a 15% update a couple of days ago. I don't know what they look like today.
Oh, they look like they got their pants off.
My wife's name is Nicole, and once during the interview, he said his girlfriend Nicolette. I'm like, how can we not hire this guy? His old boss's name was Donald. My name is Donald. There's just too much coincidence.
Too much symbolism. All right. So, look, the last thing I wanted to cover real quick. Let me show you this. I get a lot of questions on these charts, average true range charts. And just let me explain them real quick, and then we'll continue on here, folks. So, look, I feel like I need to explain it. If it's nothing but raw meat, stock nerds, the problem is you can only listen. It's statistically proven for about an hour at a time. And if it's deep, concentrated topic, it's about 30 minutes. You can look up all these studies about absorbing the information. If we don't give your brain waves a break, you're not going to have learned anything. And for us to empower you to achieve greater heights than what you're already doing, we have to have these interludes. Thank you, Nicolette, who I now have to struggle to not call Nicoletta because I've got her confused with the stock Nicola. But I will get over that. That's a me problem, Hunter. Just like the Eagles are a me problem.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, did we all think that they were? Maybe that's why sports are off, because the Bills are great. Indiana's going to challenge the Big Ten for supremacy this weekend. Penn State's awful, right?
Yeah, they're garbage.
Yeah. And even at the Eagles, like there's talk of firing Doug Peterson, the only Super Bowl winning coach. Do we bring back Nick Foles? And why do we put Jalen Hurts in? I mean, it's not right. Like, if we're going to put Jalen Hurts in, why do we leave Carson Wentz out there? Nobody's thinking Carson Wentz is going to catch a ball. Not one person thinks that dude's sprinting down the sidelines to catch anything. The only thing he's catching is a cold. Hopefully not COVID, but that would be par for the Eagles this year. Carson Wentz ran down the field, caught COVID, and had to come out of the game.
Might be the best thing that could happen to him. Give Hurts a chance to actually play quarterback.
All we are saying is give Hurts a chance.
I'm Alabama fan, so I'm biased.
I knew you'd do it.
Is give Hurts a chance.
They're like the rental car company, man. Hurts. So there's the mean. The mean is a 21 exponential moving average. There was an OJ joke about to come out.
I can't believe that we didn't.
I just stopped. I didn't want to kill it.
The superstar in Rent-A-Car.
Well, now you're killing it.
All right.
No,
literally killing it. Yeah.
Let's keep slashing along here. So here's the mean. There's 1, 2, and 3 levels above the mean, and it's really important that you understand what those levels represent. So down here, what do I have? Nikola up here. So Nikola over 21 days trades about $2.15. Okay, that's its average true range in a trading day. And so when somebody says is something stretched or is it consolidating, you can easily look at these ATR charts and go, oh yeah, that if it's all the way up here, well, that would be stretched. Well, stretched by what? This times the power to 3, right? And so if same thing down here, if it's stretched to the downside, it might be quote unquote oversold. But this down here is as unreliable as, give me something that's unreliable as the Eagles defense. It's unreliable like the Eagles defense. Sometimes these stocks rebound when they get stretched to the downside, and sometimes they give up a touchdown to the slowest quarterback in the league in Daniel Jones. You just don't know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates. And so up here, though, it's more by percentage going to strongly either consolidate lower or pull back to the mean. And so
what does Corsair look like on a mean chart?
CRSR?
My gosh.
Oh yeah, just you get these runners and it doesn't, this is where you're in trail up stop time. This is amazing chart. Trail up the stops, folks. You've got this done.
I closed it out yesterday, the last piece.
Yep.
Because it was so extended.
Yep. And just play the percentages. And so that's what the ATR represents. And so let me, I get a ton of questions. People try to spend hours on Thinkorswim. Don't spend hours here. I'm going to show you, where do I do that at? Studies, and then edit studies is what you come down to. And then you can pause the video right here. And then you can just look at how I have this set up. This is all I have set up here, and then a 21 exponential. Set up your charts like that, and you too will be able to look at what we're looking at here in the shop. And so to give you an example, like yesterday on Thursday, I bought net. And so, or as they say in Soviet Russia, нет. And so, yeah. And so, or what's that movie where Tanya quotes it all the time? I don't really care for it, with Monty Python, the things that say, I don't, is that something? That sounds like something like, is that something?
That's a hysterical movie.
Really?
That was In Search of the Holy Grail.
Yeah, I can't make it through that. Tanya, though, knows that a lot.
It's hysterical. The Life of Brian, those movies are classic.
Look at Danny, his face is turning red. He's cracking up.
That's pretty funny. There's a lot of inside. There's a lot of inside jokes in there. There's a lot of good jokes.
Right.
Speaking of Soviet Russia, great Netflix series, Queen's Gambit. Especially if you're a chess fan.
Have you finished it, Don?
Yeah, I finished it.
Me and Nicolette just finished it a few days ago. It's really good. I don't know anything about chess though. Netflix.
Is it a story?
No, it's based on a book that a guy wrote about an orphan girl in the 60s who becomes a chess prodigy.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna lie.
It's very good though.
The longest patience I've ever had recently to watch movies or shows was Tanya. This pandemic got me into all those Marvel movies, and I loved them. But I should devote a little bit more time to that. Anyway, so here's net. So what's so special about net? This is a great consolidation. Didn't make it all the way back to the mean, holding the gap. And so I want to see if it can get back up here to the 71 level up here, and from this consolidation start working its way up off the 8 and the 5. I bought it off the 8 yesterday, but here's apps. I bought these together, AAPPS. So apps is a little different, but I bought it off the bounce off the 21. And this is what I constantly talk to you stock nerds about, and Don does. We all do. It's know your setup, and when you see your setup, buy appropriately for you. And for me, I didn't know what is going to lead, net or apps. Apps is rated higher fundamentally, and so bought what 3% of apps, 3% of net, and then just see which one runs. You're like, well, that's a 6% position, Tim. You're really not taking advantage if you're right. I get you, but I'm pretty good at this, so I'll find more stocks that go up, and if they don't go up, we'll just sell them. But this consolidation here, right at the mean, this is, for me, this is the lowest risk setup I find, and that I have confidence in. When they're down here at the 50-day, like when you buy a Boeing, the way I bought a Boeing off the gap up, yeah, that's great, but that's not my bread and butter. My bread and butter is this setup here, bouncing, finding support constantly, and then looking for trigger, which is for me either an 821 or 8.5 going through the 8. Don, what'd you buy this week? What'd you sell? I got 2 more and I'll close the shot with.
I have some stocks that really have just run ridiculously higher and took profits and cut them down to just like a stub position. Corsair was one.
Report.
Initially bought at 11.10 and took half off at 11.18, up 25%, and yesterday up 41%. Just too extended. And when you see something 20% above the ADMA, it's just a matter of time till the 2x4 comes to get you upside the head. So I'm just playing the percentages there.
Sure.
And rolling that into something that's a less obvious, better low risk, such as ONEM, which was bought yesterday on a bounce off the 21 and then added to today. Hunter and I had a great conversation about this one yesterday. He texted me and says, ONEM, I know it's on our watch list, pulling back to the 21. And I said, let's see if it gets some strength off there. And then at 350, I got an alert yesterday. So we were scrambling to get that bought, and a nice follow through on that today.
Look at that OEM follow through, and look at this too. What is ONEM, about an 8% gain? I just missed it. Yeah.
Bought in around 33.
No, I just meant today. This is almost,
yeah,
this is
OEM is up
6.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's a expiration Friday, and normally you don't see this often. Like there's a lot of stocks having this kind of move today. That rotation is real, I believe. And give me some more, Don. I know some more stocks are having these big outsized days today.
Yeah, GRWG was another one. I took profits on this week, down to just a stub position on that. And Upwork also, UPWK.
There you go. Yep. Man, you can just ride the rails of these 38s. If you have if you have a stop in place, a stop, like if it closes below this day, see it comes down below that day, but doesn't close below that day, doesn't close below this day, doesn't close below this day, doesn't close below this day, doesn't close. You can either just manage it offensively or you can manage it defensively. Go ahead, Don.
Novacure is another one, Don.
Yeah, Novacure, we pyramided on that today. Took profits on that a while back during that big run up.
There's another one having a 7% day. And the markets aren't doing that much. Like if you look at S&Ps, they're flat. You look at the NQ though, flat.
The last 2 days, leaders have just absolutely dominated the indexes.
Yep. And it's that rotation that I talked about on Tuesday night. Was that the video I did Tuesday? No. Did I? God, I'm so confused on my days, and I don't know why. That's Thursday night's video, so maybe it was Wednesday. Anyway, go
Wednesday,
ahead,
Tuesday was the Carvana was the feature with the short float.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
What you got into AMD this week, and
chips are absolutely on fire. I like chips a lot here. SOXX, SMH, LRCX.
Yeah, you want to pull up an interesting chart. Yeah, look at AMAT. AMAT's kind of been the leader over the last few weeks in the semi-equipment space. Same space as LRCX.
These are,
and that's a big company too. That's an amazing chart for a company the size of AMAT.
These things are, they're all, the AMAT and LRCX are on my list, but they're just too extended.
Yeah, I agree. That whole group has been really strong over the last 3 to 4 weeks.
I own, it's in a different space. I've gotten a video which reported, but to report, to report and just kind of hold your own here, that'll just catch it. I think that'll just catch its breath. If it doesn't, I'll take the profits and move on. But this NVIDIA has not moved like LRCX or AMAT. And AMD is a huge stock too. We'll see if AMD catches.
AMD and LRC, and NVIDIA are kind of similar as far as the consolidation. NVIDIA is a little more tight over the last 6 or 7 days. but both
Go ahead, Don.
have been leaders.
And the last one that was bought this week was you, and then pyramided when it showed strength also.
Yep. And it'll be interesting to see how these perform. Now, next week's a shortened trading week, but we'll see the leading stocks have absolutely, Don's right. That rotation that took place midweek is something to be noted. I don't think you're going to see that outperformance of the industrials. I don't think you're going to see that outperformance of the open stocks. Like, what's Piton doing? I want to look at some of these real stocks that got really beat the hell down. Yeah, by coming right back to the mean. And so if it can hold this level, Piton is, give me another beaten down name. I went over, you know what, I got a whole list of them here. Hold on, Zoom is one that's on my list. And I wish I would have bought it. I didn't have the
T-Doc.
Yeah, I
all look pretty similar.
Like
T-Doc's coming back above the 21 today.
Yep, I was having and finding that pausing right at the mean, right at the 21 is
Beyond Meat.
BYND. These are all on my list, on my radar. If they can just catch their breath, hold the mean, gather themselves, they'll start to perform too. Give me another one. Let me just put my notes here. Oh,
DocuSign.
Yep, there you go. You said T-Doc, Hunter.
Yeah, T-Doc bounced off the 200 and trying to get back above their 21. Doesn't look as good as some of the other names in here. They've had a nice couple of days.
And then real quick, we'll do. Were those all the stocks you had, Don, for movement? Okay, so I want to show you something I snuck into on the 10th. What is today? The 20th. So 10 days ago, and explain how I did it and using the correlated assets to do that. And so here's the interest rates, the 10-year Treasury, and I'm going to keep it on this average true range chart because I've been talking about this for a number of weeks in relation to buying the housing stocks or the housing trade. And I did this earlier back in June where, let me just take the chart back, where the housing stocks, or maybe it was the beginning of July. No, it was June. I started buying the housing stocks when this came up to the third ATR. And it's the 10-year Treasury index. And how you read it is, this is now 0.839%. That's what you're going to get for a yield on the 10-year Treasury. Just recently, it was up almost at 1, and down here at March, it was below. It was like 0.49, something like that, or half of 1%. And so now you can see that peaks up here, and when the 10-year Treasury is going up, our markets are typically coming down, and when the Treasury is coming down, our markets are typically going up, meaning the S&Ps and the NASDAQ. But in particular, the NASDAQ, well, why would the NASDAQ go higher when 10-year Treasuries are going lower? And this is a really big point. So spotting the rotation for me on the midweek also had to do with the 10-year Treasury coming down. When the yield is going higher, you buy the banks. When the yield is going higher, you buy the expansionary stocks, the cyclicals. When the yield's coming lower, you buy the tech stocks. And this yield is coming lower. And so when you're looking here, there's the mean. So now you're trading below the mean. Can the 10-year Treasury push down here? Let me just take a look. I think there's some consolidations. No, there aren't. Well, let me take it down to a 30-minute. Nope. So
ITB is the direct opposite of that chart, how it gapped up and then has pulled back. ITB gapped down and now has crawled back right to where it was last Monday.
Yeah.
But banks interestingly have not given up their gap. In fact, gapped again even higher on Monday.
Yeah, and so it'll be interesting if banks break, but if this 10-year Treasury goes, when the 10-year Treasury was up here, and what day is that? That's the 9th, right? I bought this stock on the 10th, Restoration Hardware. So where is 1110? Right here. And what line is that? That's the mean. And so now I'm sitting on a really nice stock that I'm just going to see. And this might be all she got. I'm going to see if it can push up there. It might not be able to. But if the 10-year Treasury pushes lower, I'm looking for this to in fact move higher. And you might say, well, aren't the housing stocks Home Depot and Lowe's? Yeah, yes and no, where they're retail and they just reported, so they have that to deal with. What about the home builders themselves, like a DHI or a LEN? I didn't buy those, and I didn't buy those for a reason. I wanted a stock. I want to say this in the proper form, the proper context. I wanted the stock where it's not price. The people who shop there aren't price sensitive. So they're going to, like, RH is not Five Below, is not Dollar General, and so they've got a different customer base, and those types of stocks are doing really well in this environment. Like, let's look at
Tim, is there a typical correlation between interest rates and gold or the dollar?
Man, honestly, gold's got me a little. I think the answer is I don't know. Let me just say that first. I don't know. Typically, I think there is. Danny can probably speak to that a little bit more. I do have thoughts. I think gold's going to 1810, and I don't know if it has anything to do with interest rates or that Bitcoin's more in favor. And there's just, I mean, when someone says why is something going down in price, it's two reasons. It's the absence of buyers, or there's some kind of news. And it's not like gold has news. Gold doesn't report per se. I think you're coming down to this 200-day moving average. And that moving average is all the way down here around 1800, 1810. And I think when you hits that level, that's when you buy it. I don't know. Like, the interest rates have been going lower and gold's been going lower. I honestly don't. I don't study it.
Absolutely no recovery from that gap down.
Yeah.
On Monday when you had that big rotation.
Yep. Danny, did you have any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah. Well, rising interest rates are bad for gold. That's pretty strong correlation, and also a strengthening dollar. But when interest rates rise, that's actually good for the dollar. It makes the dollar stronger. It also kind of helps bonds, not interest rates rising, but a stronger dollar because you're getting paid back and not a devalued currency. So, and
the dollar's been coming off too, and that helps our markets as well.
And that's a broken correlation, because normally a weak dollar is you see strength in gold.
Right.
But certainly that hasn't carried through the past 2 weeks.
And that's why gold has had me perplexed. And quite frankly, there's no, like, TLT. Well, Tim, if you see, like, you could have bought TLT. This looks like a great chart. You're like, well, that's a great chart. It's a move from 157 to 160. Like, that squeeze isn't worth the juice. That's why the easy trade, when you see treasuries, 10-year treasuries doing what they're doing, you just pile into TLT. But the price movement isn't there. Like, I'd rather buy the tech stocks. I'm going to get better price action by buying the tech stocks, because they're going to come out of some of those cyclical names. And so understanding all that really makes a difference. Gold's got me. I've got a gold position I've owned since last September, but I don't have any impetus to do any kind of minor trade. Do you have any minors yet, Don? What do you got? Do you still have FCX?
Yeah, but that's been acting completely contrary to gold miners. That's been acting like well with the base metals.
Oh, there you go. What's Newmont doing? Newmont's more gold related, isn't? Yeah, that's not a good chart of Newmont.
Yeah, GDX is down near the 200-day moving average.
Yeah, there you go. These just don't act right, and gold hasn't acted well since. That was a vaccine day, wasn't it? The 9th?
Yeah, the 9th was the first vaccine day, yeah.
Yeah, it just hasn't acted well. And so looking down here for a push down to this third ATR level. And if I get it, I'll probably try something in the miners or gold, because I think that's the level you buy it from. But it's just a patience game. And
just got an upside alert on one of the stocks that Hunter's going to talk about in his segment.
Let's tell you what, let's do that. By the way, let me just finish. We're going to do that.
Yeah, let's do that. We're running out of time, babies. I got places to go.
Shoot. Okay, my last thought, and then we'll get the Hunter stuff here. My last thought was that there's so many people that have piled into gold, Don, because they're scared of the markets. They're scared. Gold is not a safe haven, man. I'm telling you, gold is not a safe haven. What's the Bitcoin, GBTC?
GBTC, yeah.
That's been your safe haven. Okay, Hunter, go.
All right. So I'm assuming you're talking about Workhorse, Don. Is that right?
Actually, we got two of them. Workhorse and Blink was the other one.
Okay. So
What is Blink?
first I'm gonna.
Is it BLM?
It's a BLNK, I think.
Yep.
They
For that.
they manufacture, operate, and provide electric vehicle charging equipment and networked EV charging services. Pretty unique. But they've gone from little under $10, a low of 935 on 11/13 to 23 today on massive volume, and they've had big volume on the last 5 days. But so first, I'm going to talk about three individual names. I've got some interesting information on some new and innovative companies that are doing some stuff different. And let me just kind of segue this by going into Silvergate Bank, because we're talking about Bitcoin right now. Pull up SI. So this is it's relatively thinly traded. However, me and Don decided it was worth mentioning because they're doing something that's different than what other banks do. They're doing something innovative, and it's with digital currency. So what they do that's unique is they've developed their own digital currency exchange called SEN, which just stands for Silvergate Exchange Network, in which you can convert US dollars to digital currency and you can exchange digital currency with other clients of the bank on that platform 24/7. And additionally, they were one of the first banks to partner with companies like Coinbase and Bitstamp when they were having trouble getting banking services from everywhere else, basically. So, and you could argue that maybe that's the reason why they've had this big move, because it's pretty much in lockstep with what Bitcoin's done. But and they have cloud-based banking as a part of this. But I just felt like it was worth mentioning that, because from what I've been able to find, I can't find another bank that has anything like this. And so certainly they're benefiting from Bitcoin increasing in value, gaining popularity, whatever the case may be. And I also found an article posted by Forbes 24 days ago where they took in $586 million in crypto deposits. And this isn't some, wonky bank. They're a member of the Federal Reserve. They're legit. And they also work with software developers building blockchain or digital currency platforms. So they're open to working with new and upcoming platforms as well. The next one I would like for you to take a look at, Tim, is Workhorse. And I'm sure, people have heard of this one. And I hate that the podcast wasn't yesterday, so I could have told you guys about it when it bounced off the 50-day beautifully.
I almost forget the
WKHS.
My bad.
Nope.
This one has had a beautiful move going back to basically the start of November. Went from about $15, now they're pushing $25. Pushed through their 50 over the last couple of days, and then tested it yesterday, looking wonderful today, up almost 10%.
What's Lordstown? Is Lordstown trading well too?
They I haven't looked at them. It's one I actually mentioned to Don earlier this week. The ticker symbol is RIDE. They've pulled back. They had a couple of big gap days up in a row.
Yeah.
They pulled back a little bit. They're up today. But the reason they had a big move is I think they announced that they were seeing a lot of pre-orders or demand or interest in their electric truck. And so I had some alerts triggered around 22 when they pushed through the 50-day. But it's another one of those EVs, and they're hot right now.
That's a great thing you just said, Hunter. Just one second. Danny, I know we got to run. Just what you just said. So this is why this is look at this. This is a great move, right? But some people might be turned off by the 50-day. Like that's a whole mess on the moving averages. It's so much easier to see price on an average true range chart for me. I'm so glad you just said that, Hunter. Thank you for saying that.
Well, and the thing that's interesting about Workhorse is their chart is almost identical to DraftKings.
Take a look at it.
Like if you were to overlap the chart, they would look pretty damn close to each other.
DraftKings you're still at DraftKings, right, Don?
Yeah, we bought it and added to it this week.
And it actually bounced off the 50 pretty nicely while we were on this call. I was monitoring it. But if you go back to Workhorse, I just got a couple of comments on them because they're doing something. I was familiar they did stuff with electric vehicles, but I didn't really know. So I did some research, went through their website, read some articles. So they manufacture their own and develop and build their own electric delivery vehicles, drones, and they have a proprietary cloud-based logistics and telematics platform for tracking their fleets. But the cool thing is these drones ride with the truck and depart from the truck within the last mile delivery, take the package, deliver it, come back.
So cool.
And so they developed their own, this telematics system, which is essentially an app that harnesses the power of data. It tells you, what the performance is like on your fleet. You can track location in real time, all this different stuff. But their big focus, this is their mission, is to redefine last mile delivery. And I don't know for sure. I know they were in the runnings for winning a contract with the U.S. Postal Service. So I don't know if that's already happened. I couldn't find anything that really gave me a definitive answer, but it's just, we're always looking for something new and something innovative that's revolutionary. And I think with both of these companies that I've just mentioned, you've got something like that, and they're worth keeping an eye on. The last individual name I got for you guys is BEPC, is Brookfield Renewable. They have been a leader in the alternative energy, PCP, like Philip. But I wanted to give you guys something that was maybe a little bit closer to a buy point that's been a leader in their group. This is in the same industry group as Plug Power. And I was going through and just checking these things out, and, they had a nice spike up to almost 80 and reversed. But here they are. They're up a little bit today. They're about 3% off of their 21. So keep an eye on it. It's been one that's popped up in my RS line new high data a significant amount of times over the last month or so. So just a different name in that alternative energy space, which has been hot. That's not Plug. So I just wanted to give you guys that. And lastly, let me tie this in to Workhorse. They're in the auto truck / original equipment industry group. And I know you can't really pull that up, but pull up some of these ticker symbols, please. APTV, Aptiv, it's a name that's in that group. Also having a really nice move. And then also pull up VC, like Victor C. Also showing some strength. So this group as a whole has had 5 or 6 names that have really driven a big move over the last month or so. And we touched on this earlier. Let me bring it back up. Consumer products, electronic. Blink is in that group, and they've really driven the move. But take a look at, pull up SONO, Sonos.
Oh, they had a huge move off of earnings.
Yeah, and they've broken the low of that gap day today. I know that violates Don's rules, but not by much.
You get 1 to 2% below that. It's not like breaking it by a penny is not a sell signal.
Yeah, and I think they're probably about 1% below it today. But a big move in this company, a big surprise on profitability, I think, is what drove that move. And you've also got Garmin is in this group, GRMN. They haven't had quite the moves that Sonos and Blink have, but they did have a really good move basically at the end of October to about 1110. They've been consolidating ever since. They went from about 195-ish to 120 in a pretty short period of time. And then lastly, I've got one industry group that's a little bit nuanced, a little bit new, that maybe you wouldn't think would be doing so well. Metal procurement and fabrication. So Tim, if you don't mind, will you pull up TKR, Timken?
Boy,
They have had
is a name from the past.
They had a really nice move going back once again to pretty much the beginning of this month, bounced off of about 55 and worked their way up all the way to about 75 before they kind of started consolidating. And if you can zoom in on 1104,
yeah,
they pulled back pretty much right to the 21. Wouldn't have been a bad place to get an entry after that move up the prior 4 days. So another name in here, Tim, is ROLL, like roll.
ROLL?
They've had a nice move as well. Went from about 114 right at the end of October all the way up to about 170, 175 over the last 2.5, 3 weeks. which is RBC Bearings is the name of that company. And the last one I've got for you is a recent IPO. It's Arconic.
Oh yeah, that's on the ARNC.
ARNC. Very similar to those other charts. Had a really nice move going back to the end of the month until now, and they've been consolidating. So just keep an eye on these. You set an alert at the 21. Most of them are about 3 to 5%, 6% above it. So they've been leading. They've been increasing in relative strength. So maybe an opportunity at the 21 isn't a bad place to pull the trigger.
All right, listen, stock nerds, market lovers, if you want Don's 21 over 21 list, all you have to do, Don at revereasset.com. He'll talk to you about it. Any questions for Hunter on the stocks you just mentioned right here? Danny, I've got 2 things to mention after you take us home. Take us home, Danny.
Folks, if you like what you heard, please tell a friend, tell a neighbor, just send them to revereasset.com. They can go up to that subscribe button at the top, and we'll send them this podcast every weekend, and they'll get a short 10-minute market video any day the market's open that the guys rotate and do. It's all free, and we're not going to browbeat you or reach out to you. And it's up to the client or the person to reach out to us if they're interested. You can also go to webinars, and Don, time permitting, every month and a half, does an hour-long lunch and learn educational video at noon Wednesday Eastern time. And even if you can't sign up, even if you can't make it, sign up, because he'll send you the recorded podcast when he's done. You can email us with any questions, Dan at revereasset.com, Don at revereasset, Tim at revereasset, or Hunter at revereasset. And you can always call us old school at 855 Real Wealth.
Stockners, I've got the video this evening on Friday night. Now we'll talk to you about purchases in Twilio and Etsy. And so with that, hope you have a great night, and I'll see you. We'll all see you. We'll see you next. We're doing next week, aren't we, Danny? The day after Thanksgiving?
Well, either that or maybe do it on Wednesday. But what I think we ought to do just a very short abbreviated.
There will be a show
for the stock. Yeah, just a short abbreviated show. The red meat for the stock nerds is my thoughts.
All right.
Wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. All right.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll see you next week on Your Money.